6:51 here in St. Louis. Through the magic of radio, our next guest is in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Molly Hunter is following President Obama, who is in Saudi Arabia. Good morning, Molly Hunter.
Good morning, McGraw.
This trip comes at a very awkward time. First of all, what's the reason he's headed over there in the first place?
So he came for both to meet with the King of Saudi Arabia, but also to meet with other Gulf leaders, and honestly, primarily to reassure Gulf leaders here that America is still engaged in the Arab world, that America still cares about this relationship, and that America is still invested in the Middle East, despite recent partnerships and relationships, primarily that with Iran and that nuclear deal. And you mentioned a strained relationship. And Iran is absolutely the number one reason that relationship is strained right now.
All right, so as the Iran deal is up and out, all of a sudden he goes over there with this 9/11 bill hanging over his head. How is that playing over there?
Playing fairly large, except we just heard actually in a White House press briefing that the 9/11 bill, which, as you know, would allow American victims to sue the government of Saudi Arabia. The 9/11 bill did not come up in the bilateral meeting between President Obama and King Salman of Saudi Arabia. Now, the administration has said multiple times that they don't support this, that it sets a dangerous precedent for individuals to be able to sue governments, and that it actually would open up the U.S. to lawsuits. We've heard from presidential candidates who do support this bill, but that is certainly a very awkward and hot topic here in Saudi.
So you're telling me that the United States government is thinking about passing a bill that would have the U.S. citizens sue Saudi Arabia, and the White House says that a meeting between those two governments, that topic never came up?
That's correct. That did not come up in the 2-hour bilateral meeting they had yesterday. And the administration says it's because Saudi knows exactly where the administration stands on this. President Obama has said as recently as this week in an interview that he does not support the bill as it's going through Congress right now. So the administration feels that is the reason that it didn't come up in the meeting yesterday.
Do we have any idea why this 9/11 bill and of these 28 pages is getting such attention now? The 9/11 Commission report's been out for 14 years.
Absolutely. I think that it has finally come up to the top of the stack, top of the pile. And I think many feel that this would be a time before elections to actually possibly get it through. And President Obama clearly feels that this is a time in the last 6 months or so of his tenure that he's able to speak out loudly against it.
That is Molly Hunter live in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Thanks for the update, Molly. Be safe traveling, and we'll talk to you soon.
My pleasure.
6:55 here, Big 550.